COVID cases on the rise across the U.S. The CDC now expected to make changes today to its safety recommendations, including mask wearing, how that could impact San Diego. After weeks of political back and forth, police officers appearing before lawmakers to recount the deadly day rioters stormed the Capitol. The new footage and details from today's hearing. A big storyline at the Olympics today, what prompted one of the biggest U.S. stars to withdraw in the middle of a competition for the gold. ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Virginia Cha. So today the CDC is expected to change its recommendations on mask wearing as coronavirus cases surge across the country. They should be laying out those changes in about an hour. Now here is what we're anticipating. The CDC is expected to recommend people vaccinated and unvaccinated alike wear masks in public indoors in regions with high or substantial transmission rates. Now currently San Diego would fall under the CDC's definition for substantial. We'll have more on the local situation in just a moment. Now, as part of the CDC's announcement today, according to CNN, the agency will recommend everyone wear masks inside schools as well. California is already requiring that across the state, although it has been left up to districts to decide how to enforce that requirement. Some have said they won't. Now the question is how this could affect California guidelines. While the state has implemented some of its own rules, it has generally followed CDC recommendations since reopening in June. Now, we told you San Diego would be categorized by the CDC as experiencing substantial transmission. That's because in the last several weeks, cases in our county have surged. San Diego recorded 745 new cases Sunday in the latest round of daily testing. That's nearly 500 more cases than the same day in San Diego a year ago, before vaccines were available. The data also shows these new cases are overwhelmingly impacting the unvaccinated. In the last month, 90% of San Diego's new cases have involved people who are not fully vaccinated. That group accounts for 97% of hospitalizations during that time. And this is just in. We're learning all CSU schools will require vaccinations for the fall term. That means students and staff attending in-person classes or activities in person will need to have their COVID vaccine shots before returning to campus. Dates to certify vaccination will vary by campus, but all certifications must be completed no later than September 30th. A lot happening today. This is an evolving situation. The CDC announcement is expected at noon our time. For the latest updates, alerts sent right to your phone, be sure to download our free smartphone app. Well, the January 6th House Select Committee convening this morning to hear some powerful testimony from 4 officers who defended the Capitol against the violent mob that stormed that building, leading to several deaths, including that of Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick. ABC 10 News anchor Mary McKenzie joining us live now in the studio. Mary, this was an opportunity for all of them to share on a national stage what they experienced that day.
And this was, there were tears, there was anger, indignance, I think, Virginia, is the word that you used, as these 4 officers testified before the House committee with some accounting of what they experienced that day.
But on January 6th, for the first time, I was more afraid to work at the Capitol than my entire deployment to Iraq. I could feel myself losing oxygen and recall thinking to myself, this is how I'm going to die.
This bipartisan committee hearing from 4 members of law enforcement, D.C. Metropolitan and Capitol Police officers, those heroes detailing what they endured that day and the trauma they've experienced every day since, at times breaking down and telling committee members they thought they would die.
I was electrocuted again and again and again with a taser. The indifference shown to my colleagues is disgraceful.
At least 5 people died in the riots. About 140 officers were injured, and to date, at least 549 people have been charged. Worth noting the local connection, that among those who died was a San Diego woman, Ashley Babbitt, who was fatally shot by Capitol Police while she was part of the mob storming the Capitol building. Several of the officers asked for more support resources, and you heard the anger from one of them, railing at efforts by some to redefine or recharacterize what happened that day. It wasn't just the officers who became emotional.
We are all Americans today, and we thank you for holding that line.
The hearings themselves have been controversial and certainly compelling, as you heard in just the first few hours of testimony. They could return before the end of the August recess. They could hold another hearing, the chair said at the end of today's hearing. So much to come, but a very interesting few hours. Reporting in the studio, Mary McKenzie, ABC 10 News.
Thank you, Mary. Legal documents have been unsealed, giving us a new look at the court order against Maya Milliete's husband, Larry. He was recently named a person of interest in the investigation into her disappearance more than 6 months ago. A gun violence restraining order was filed against Larry Milliete in May, prohibiting him from possessing firearms or ammo. Authorities searched his home days later and say they found a cache of 16 firearms along with some high-capacity magazines. Prosecutors said his children and others faced the potential for danger. That prompted the order. The documents also say several of the firearms were unregistered or considered illegal. A group in Coronado gathered to begin what they are calling the healing process surrounding the now infamous tortilla throwing incident involving Coronado High and Orange Glen High. ABC 10 News reporter Marie Cornell is live in Coronado. Marie, you've also learned about some new development in the district's efforts to fight the CIF sanctions against Coronado High.
Yeah, Virginia, you may remember the board voted to appeal the CIF's ruling. I checked in with CIF this morning and they confirmed they did receive an appeal from the district. Now, in terms of those who gathered here this morning, they say they want the focus now to be on moving forward.
And acknowledging that it's time to start a reconciliation process between communities. We are focusing on the feelings of the Escondido community.
Members of Inclusionado, which is a community initiative group, gathered at the Coronado Unified School District office to offer an apology to Orange Glen High School. They say the apology is a beginning in the process of healing in an effort to open the lines of communication between both the Escondido and Coronado communities. Just a few weeks ago, another group gathered here, dozens of people who wanted to show their support for the boys basketball team from Coronado High. The team had been stripped of its championship title by the CIF, and the CIF also issued several sanctions against the high school. This is in connection to the incident where tortillas were thrown from the Coronado side towards the opposing team from Orange Glen High School, which is a predominantly Latino school. People at this rally, including the mayor of Coronado, wanted the board to walk back any previous comments they made condemning the act as racially motivated until the investigation was done.
They rushed to judgment, didn't have any facts, didn't interview any players on the team, and they based all of their information or their letter that they published to the world essentially on a false narrative that was basically framed from the other team.
The man who brought the tortillas told ABC 10 News he graduated from Coronado High in 1999 and went to UC Santa Barbara, where tortilla tossing is a tradition. He says he brought them to be used in a celebratory action. A member of the boys basketball team had this to say about the incident.
You have to be kind of sensitive to how they believe it looks, and throwing those tortillas, at a predominantly Hispanic school, it doesn't look good. You kind of have to look at both perspectives, because if I'm a black man, if I was at another school and somebody was throwing stuff that seemed racist, if they were throwing bananas or throwing watermelon, I'd be pretty upset.
I did reach out to the mayor of Coronado to get his take on this apology, and I'm still waiting to hear back from him. Live from Coronado, Marie Cornell, ABC 10 News.
Thank you, Marie. This is new today. The man accused of a deadly shooting spree in Atlanta pleading guilty to several murder charges. In March, prosecutors say the gunman drove to several different spa businesses, shooting employees. All told, 8 people were killed that night, many of them of Asian descent, prompting concerns amid an escalation in anti-Asian American violence. But investigators there maintain they don't believe this was a hate crime. The man was sentenced to life in prison for the killings he pleaded guilty to today, but he still faces the death penalty for charges in a different county.